Hello dear students, I am Pinas Kavrana. In today's video, we'll be understanding the second part of history chapter number 1, that is how, when and where. Before we can begin with the explanation of the second part, let us just go through the points that we had understood from part 1. First point is history is about changes that occurs with time. It is about how things were before and after. Second, it is incorrect to fix precise dates for some historical events as they happen over a period of time. Third, there was a time when history was on accounts of battles and big events. How about rulers and their policies? So, history was associated with only dates. Fourth, Mill thought that Asians were at a lower level of civilization. He thought that Indians could civilize only with the help of the British rule. Next, how uh, the period during the British rule did not have features of modern society like equality, freedom, economic growth, etc. So, the period was known as a colonial period and not a modern society. Next, when one country conquers the other country and changes its social, economical, political, and cultural status, then the process is called colonization. Now we can begin with the second part of the chapter. The first topic is administration produces records. Okay. So here we will be seeing that during the British rule, that is the Britishers, they had a very good habit of making notes, making records of everything they used to do. Even if they wanted to change a particular scenario in the country, they made a record, they got it in writing, they made records of it. Even if they have already implemented some changes, they will make a record of it. If they want to impose some new laws, rules, regulations, they will make a record of it. Anything and everything they used to do, they always used to make a record of it, which means they always used to write about what they were about to do or what they were doing. Okay, the basic concept behind making these records or behind writing everything they used to do was that things could be preserved and understood at a further point of time in future also. The Britishers, they always thought that writing things would make things much more easier to understand, and of course at further point of time in the future, if somebody wants to debate on a particular decision or a happening, then they can study the whole writing, that is they can study the whole record, and they can have a clear understanding about the matter, and then they can have debates about it. So this is why the Britishers, they always used to have records of everything they used to do. Now it was also very important for these people to preserve those records, and so with all official organizations or institutions, they always had a record room attached to it. For example, the village tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretariats, the law courts, all these official institutions, they always had a record room attached to it. Okay, now in the beginning of the 19th century, these records, they were rewritten by the calligraphists. Okay, the main purpose behind making these records written again was so that it could be preserved in a better way and it could be understood by a lot of people in the future period of time. Okay, so these ones were rewritten by the calligraphists, and calligraphists are the one who have a very good handwriting, we all know this. Later on, when the printing was when the printing came into existence, these records were now printed and preserved. Printed and preserved records are, of course, we understand that it becomes accessible at a very further point of time in the future also. For example, after and hundreds of years, you can always refer to the printed records, okay, and they are much easier to preserve and they are much easier to understand. whenever required in the future. So with this paragraph I can have a few important points, that is, first, we could know our history as the Britishers had written everything they planned or decided or agreed upon. Thus, we got records, reports from the British administration. Next, they set up record rooms in administrative offices like in village tehsildar's office, the commissioner's office, the law courts, etc. Even the museums were created as record rooms. This was to preserve important documents. Okay, these are also some of the basic points that you can get from the topic we have done. One important source is the official records of the British administration. Here I want to make it clear that why is these records known as a source of information. It is known as a source of information because only with the help of these records we could understand and we could get to know that what were the Britishers doing in our country, what were their motives, okay, what all were their practices that were conducted in our country. So these records, they work as a source of information to us. Second point, the British felt all important documents and letters were needed to be preserved. Specialized institutions like archives and museums were established to preserve important records. We can also come to a question with this topic, that is, why did Britishers preserve official records? The answer is in point. If not clearly visible, I can read out. First point is, the British believed that the act of writing was important. Second, every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation had to be clearly written up. Third, once this was done, things could be properly studied and debated. Fourth, this conviction produced an administrative culture of memos, notings, and reports. Fifth, the British also felt that all important documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved, so they set up record rooms attached to all administrative institutions. Sixth, the village tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretaries, the law courts all had their record rooms. Seventh, in early years of the 19th century, these documents were clearly copied out and beautifully written by calligraphists. Last, by the middle of the 19th century, multiple copies of these records were printed as proceedings of each government department. So, moving on to the next topic, that is surveys become important. Now, the next topic is why the surveys were important during those times, during the Britishers. Now, Britishers, we need to understand, were always of this opinion that it was always better to know a country well before they could start ruling it. And so to know the country better, so to know the people of the country and the scenario of the country better, they started this system of surveying. In the survey, they first of all surveyed the villages. While they were surveying the villages, they collected information about certain topics like the cropping pattern in the village, the flora, the fauna, the local histories of the villages, the topography, and the soil quality. They also surveyed about on archaeological topics. Anthropological surveys were conducted, forest surveys were also conducted. Surveys was a very good way of knowing the people of the country, the status of the country, and so surveys are still continued. For example, in every 10 years we have a population survey still going on in our country, which gives us information about the income of the people or the religion or caste of the people, the population of the country, the employment level of the country. We get information about all this. So surveys was also a technique that was begun by the Britishers and is still continued because it is a very good way of knowing what is the general scenario or condition going on in the country. Next is what official records do not tell. We will come to this topic after going through some question answers and points about surveys. So the first point is Britishers thought that knowing the country was important before administering it, so they practiced survey. In villages, revenue survey was carried on to know the topography, soil quality, flora, fauna, cropping pattern and local histories of the villages. Here are some of the important points that we could get from the previous topic. Also, we have a question, that is why survey was important or why Britishers conducted surveys. The practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. Second, the British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. Third, by the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out. Fourth, in the villages, revenue services were conducted. Next, the effort was to know the topography, the soil quality, flora, fauna, local histories, and the cropping pattern. Next, from the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years. Next, there were many other surveys like the botanical survey, zoological survey, archaeological surveys, anthropological surveys, forest surveys. Okay, so this was the question. Now the next topic is what is that one thing that we cannot understand by administrative records or surveys. So that common thing that we cannot understand by administrative records or surveys is that what was the actual condition of the people living in the British rule. Okay, so we cannot have an idea about the people, their condition, their thoughts, their likes, dislikes, their level or at which they were adjusting or sacrificing. We cannot understand about all these things that were going on the mind of the people. Why? Because the records or the surveys, they are not conducted with regards to what people think or feel. They are only conducted on regards to what was going on in the country and what was required or not required in the country. Correct? So to understand the the mental health of the people, their personal diaries, then there were newspapers, their autobiographies, all such things were collected. Once all such things were collected, we could easily start understanding that what were the people during the British rule going through, because it is the personal diaries or autobiographies or travelers monologue, all these things are never going to be fake or biased. So with all these things we could understand what was the mental scenario or mental status of the people during the British rule. Then we also had newspapers. Newspapers played provided a very big platform for the people in the country to come put up their views, their ideas, their thoughts or feelings and have a debate across the whole country. Okay, so gradually we started having all these platforms through which the people could start communicating their feelings and their thoughts, before which we only had administrative records and surveys which really did not show us how the people coped up, how the people of India coped up or adjusted with the British rule or how they survived. With this we can have certain points, that is the official records do not tell about the needs of the people of India. Many official records hide the truth and only show one aspect of the event. Next, apart from these administrative records, we had people's personal diaries, autobiographies, newspapers, etc. to know how people felt or what they actually wanted. So with this we have done the second part of the chapter also, and we have completed history chapter number 1, that